Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is June 30th, 2025, and Frenkie de Jong could be key for the signing of Nico Williams. Also, Barcelona have a date when they will be announcing the transfer of Ansu Fati. And finally, Barcelona currently are worried about what's going to happen with Trincao. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and I do apologize for not posting any videos yesterday. My day got incredibly hectic, busy. I didn't have any time to make any videos, but don't worry, because once you're done watching this video and the video I already posted, you will be all caught up on Barcelona news, and of course, later today, the podcast. So stay tuned to the channel, because podcasts, well, they're my favorite days because I get to interact with you lovely people live on the chat section. All right, let's begin with the news, because ladies and gentlemen, reports are stating that Frenkie de Jong could be key for the signing of Nico Williams. And you might say, why, Mo? Why would he be a key? He's not shaped like a key. He's a human being. Well, the reason is because Barcelona are currently negotiating the contract renewal of Frenkie de Jong. As you know, Barcelona have been trying to renew him for quite some time. Finally, Frenkie picked up the phone, said, hey, I want to stay. Let's negotiate my renewal. And in fact, I am firing my agent because he's been putting too many hurdles and obstacles in the way of these renewals. And I'm tired of that. I want to renew. I want to stay. So let's do it. And well, Barcelona have been in talks with Frenkie de Jong. And of course, his massive salary could be restructured, or will be restructured, because as you know, Frenkie de Jong has the highest salary on the squad, the highest salary in all of La Liga, thanks to Bartomeu, who used to love to give the club's money away. And not only that, but Barcelona also owe Frenkie de Jong money from deferred salaries that he agreed to before. So given that huge payments that Barcelona have been making every season, this is of course something that the club want to change, because they cannot afford to. And it's reported that under the new contract, this salary will be completely restructured. Now, we don't know if Frenkie de Jong will agree to reduce his salary. He'll agree to defer his salary, where the debt that Barcelona owe him can be divided by more seasons when they stretch his contract. For example, let's say Barcelona owe him 100 million euros. And if he renews for another 5 years, now it's 100 divided by 5. It's 20 million per season, versus having to pay the full 100 this upcoming season, which is his last year of contract. Of course, these numbers are only for being used as an example. I'm not saying that's what Barcelona owe him. I'm definitely not saying he's renewing for 5 years. This is just to make an example of how Frenkie's renewal could completely restructure his payment, from reducing his salary to deferring what Barcelona already owe him, etc. And that, of course, will clear a lot of space on Barcelona's wage bill, which Barcelona could use to register Nico Williams. So Barcelona are working very hard on renewing the contract of Frenkie de Jong as soon as possible, so they can have more financial fair play to register the contract of Nico Williams. Now, speaking of Nico Williams, the way Barcelona expect to register him, by the way, Barcelona are confident that this will happen, is because Barcelona expect to reach the 1-to-1 rule with the VIP seats deal. As you might recall from my previous videos, Barcelona sold rights to VIP seats for 100 million euros. Those 100 million euros did not count because the seats were not built. Now that they are built, Barcelona hope that the 100 million will count. But despite those 100 million, Barcelona also needed another 30 million euros to reach the 1-to-1, which Barcelona have mostly made up through exits of players in other clubs that Barcelona still had owned rights to. For example, Jean-Claire Todibo, where Barcelona made 8 million euros from his move to Nice to the Premier League. And well, Barcelona, thanks to the VIP seats, thanks to all these exits, they expect to reach the 1-to-1 rule by July 1st, but then they will still need 30 more million euros to register the contracts of Nico Williams and Joan Garcia. And Barcelona hope to make up those 30 million euros by further exits. For example, Ansu Fati, which should be announced pretty soon, and Mark Ter Stegen if he ends up leaving. If not, there's still Pablo Torre, Pau Victor, Andreas Christensen, Oriol Romeo. So Barcelona are confident that they will be able to register Nico Williams, which, by the way, lots of talks about his registration or his signing being delayed because of his demands. Don't worry, I will be talking about that during the podcast, so stay tuned to the channel. Now, while we're still on the topic of Nico Williams, as you know, his mural has been destroyed twice. This was the first one where his picture was removed from next to his brother Iñaki. The artist who drew that mural repaired it and then immediately got destroyed again with words appearing like calling him rat and things like that. So these two destructions have happened, and the artist of this mural has been interviewed, and he has stated that he believes it's Barcelona fans who are doing this. Excuse me. The first time it was destroyed, it had big words saying stay or leave, we lost respect for you. Then the second time they were calling him a rat for leaving, and Barcelona fans did that. So Barcelona fans think Nico Williams is a rat because he's gonna sign for us. Is anyone losing their mind? Is everyone losing their mind in Bilbao? Like, what is happening? Is something in the water? Is there like high levels of toxins in the water, in the food, something? I don't know. Someone should check on the population of Bilbao, because something very, very serious is going on. Anyways, on to the next bit of news, because Barcelona know when they will be announcing the signing or the transfer of Ansu Fati to Monaco, and it will be July 1st. July 1st, this transfer will become official, as Ansu Fati has already passed the medical exams with Monaco. He's already in Monaco. In fact, videos have surfaced of him walking the streets of Monaco with his entourage. So Ansu Fati is already in Monaco, passed his medical exams, and tomorrow Barcelona will be announcing his official transfer, where he will be joining the Ligue 1 club on a one-season loan with an option to buy worth around 11 to 12 million euros, and where Barcelona will retain a buyback clause worth around 28 million euros, and where Monaco have agreed to cover half of the salary of Ansu Fati after Ansu Fati agreed to extend his contract with Barcelona by one more season until 2028, reducing his salary, his yearly salary, because now the Barcelona owner for the last 2 seasons are now going to be divided by 3 seasons. So now that Ansu Fati's salary is lower, Monaco can cover half of that. Before they couldn't. So Barcelona will be able to remove a huge chunk of Ansu Fati's salary off their books, which again they hope to use for the signings of players like Nico, Joan Garcia, Rooney Bartki, and whoever else they end up signing. Now, on to the next bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, Ronald Arojo has cut his vacation short, and just like Marc Bernal, who we talked about in a previous video, he has returned to Barcelona, and he has began training because he wants to get ahead of the preseason. Araujo wants to forget about last season, which was full and marred by injuries, and as a result also by underperformance. So Araujo wants to hit the ground running. He wants to get ahead of the preseason, so when he begins the preseason, he can be in tip-top shape, because Araujo plans to make a comeback, and that of course means that he does not plan on leaving the club. However, nonetheless, Barcelona do expect many offers for him, because as you know, starting tomorrow, July 1st, his release clause will be reduced to 65 million euros, and there's a lot of clubs interested in him. So Barcelona expect to receive a lot of offers, but so far Araujo has stated that he plans to stay, and Deco, well, he doesn't want him to leave. Deco, in fact, is the one who has fully bet on Ronald Araujo. He's the one who convinced him to stay. He's the one who convinced him to renew until 2031. Now, the last bit of news is in regards to Trincao, that 25-year-old right winger currently playing for Sporting CP. And the news is that Barcelona are currently worried about what's happening with Trincao, because it looked like Trincao was going to be leaving 2 other clubs this summer, but Sporting CP are working very, very hard on convincing him to stay. They're even offering him a high salary. They're offering him number 10 kid. They're offering him, to be a staple or the main guy of their team, because they want him to stay. So far, Trincao has not made a decision, but some reports are saying that he could be getting convinced to stay at Sporting CP. But Barcelona are hopeful that he will agree to leave, especially the Manchester United, who are very, very interested in the player. And you might say, Mo, why do we care if he leaves or stays? Well, that's because Barcelona own 50% of the rights of the player, and it's reported that Manchester United are planning to pay 40 million for him. So if Trincao moves to Man U or anywhere else for 40 million euros, Barcelona would get 20 out of those 40. Lots of money for Barcelona. But of course, if the player stays, Barcelona don't get anything. So for now, Barcelona are hopeful that Trincao will end up somewhere else. All right, that is all for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago, so make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, Visca Barça.